My name is written in stars, and I will give everything, all that I have to the cause. Fight against evil, run through the pain, battle it all, this is more than a game. I am a lion and I can't be tamed, it's how it was made, this ice in my veins, run through it up. No matter the odds, I won't answer the call, the enemy knocks on the door. Even the greatest among us will fall, but the greatest will get back up. So I won't back down and I won't give up, and I will act now and I will stand up. They know that I'm here for it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up, no matter what's in my way. Rise up, I will do what it takes. I will keep on fighting. I'll rise through it all. Rise up.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Par-Mar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Par-Mar stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Par-Mar app and sign up for the Par-Mar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Par-Mar stores, and remember, if there's not a Par-Mar store near you now, there will be soon.
And welcome and good evening to the Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. I'm the Wolfman, Dale Wolfley. I am the host, and I am with the Legends tonight with, of course, DP, Darryl Prue. What's up, Prue, man? How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Dale? How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing awesome. I'm excited. We got UAB tonight. There's an exciting player coming into the Coliseum, and I know you guys are fired up. And that takes me next to first-timer on this two-time show. This is the second time that we're going here. And, of course, we have Tim Kearney. Tim, how are you, man?
I'm doing all right. I woke up on the green side, so I'm doing all right.
Yeah, well, you know what? I gotta tell you, the later years, they sure seem to be that way, man. So I am excited, and I agree with you. And you know, Tim, let's get into your background because you're 6'11", I believe, and you say that might be a little bit of age. 7 foot. What's the real deal? Because I know at Mario's Fishbowl, you are the official 7-footer at WVU. What's the scoop? What's the real deal?
The real deal is I lied on my driver's license. And I've had 2 back surgeries, so I'm probably about 6'8", 6'9".
6'8", 6'9"? Well, come on now. We're going to just get the stories. Don't let the facts get in the way of the truth. All right,
I've gotten older like we all have gotten older, so you shrink a little bit. But, yeah, I'm not quite the 6'11" that I was, so, you know,
absolutely. Well, yeah, Tim, tell us about yourself because I know that you were drafted in 1984 from West Virginia, or 81 through 84. The Portland Trailblazers. Was it the 3rd round? Was it the 65th overall pick?
Yeah, it was. It was actually kind of surprised. I had this guy call me up. He goes, "I want to be your agent." I said, "For what?" He goes, "You just got drafted." And I said, "Really? I didn't know that."
Well, that's a great story. And you know what? I'll tell you, I loved having you back when we did our reunions. And DP, when we did our reunions, man, you came back. What was the best thing you thought and saw? And don't put me up as the guy that brought it together. That's not where I'm going with this. I'm going as when you were with your guys, but not just your guys. You were with some legends through the ages, man, of WVU basketball. What was your initial feelings of and how you left when those reunions?
I always felt those reunions, you get to know people. Like, you hear about them when you're there, but you don't get a chance to sit down and just have a conversation with them, you know, all these years later. So it's not about who's better than who. It's just, you know, we're all a family. You know, we all have our stories and plenty of stories to tell. And, you know,
I left there. Some we can't do.
Can't tell all the stories, but you know, yeah, we can tell them at Kegler's, but we can't tell them here. But you know, the stories and just leaving there and waiting for the next one. Sometimes you wish you could have 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah. No,
you know, Yeah, go ahead, Tim. I was just going to say, go to you. What's your favorite story when you came back there? What was your most enjoyable time when you came back and you talked to some guys? Who stuck out to you?
Yeah, Phil Collins and I, we hung out together quite a bit. Um, it was great seeing him up there for the reunion. But and I saw Noah. Finally saw Noah more. Noah and I actually were roommates. But we had an apartment on High Street, so it was good seeing Noah. Of course, Jim Smallridge, he was the manager of the basketball team. I actually just talked to him the other day. I talked to him, every other week, and it's always good to talk to folks up there. And I had a lot of other people that I knew as well up there. The Blast family, the Johnson family, and they were all very good people.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm a football guy, right? But that's not the reality because the reality is I hung out with so many basketball players. And DP and I would go back, way back. He goes back with Major Harris. And the union between basketball and football is pretty good. And it fires me up. And I've always loved this. So being the alumni guy, I just naturally fit in because I really believe this. And this is something I want to just keep preaching a little bit before we jump into tonight. And that is representing the WV. I don't care if it's gymnastics, tennis, if it's basketball or football. There's something really special about being a Mountaineer and wearing that WV and representing them all. DP, quick thought.
Yeah, I mean it's like it says a family. And when I was there, I went to football games, I went to baseball games, I went to the track, I went to a couple of baseball games. I think I've done more than that than I did to the pro sports in the city here. I think I went to more games that I wouldn't usually go to, and you make friends sometimes. When you're in the towers, as a freshman, all those everybody's together, so we all getting to know each other from all different parts of the country, and it's a special bond.
I no doubt. How about you, Tim?
Well, the Towers as a freshman was a very unusual experience because our floor, the third floor, you had basketball players, you had soccer players, you had from all different you know places throughout the world. I mean, you had the soccer players that were playing golf at 3 o'clock in the morning, putt golf. I mean, and they were talking different languages. It was it was a great experience. And like I said, like Darryl said before, I actually ran into Jeff Hostetler when he was playing with the Redskins by a restaurant by my house. I ran right into him. And he goes, "Oh my God, it's you!" And I knew Jeff, I knew Daryl Talley, I knew all these guys, Brian Joseph. I mean, they're all great guys, and it was just a fantastic experience being up there.
And thus
Yeah,
far, the great connection. Go ahead, D.
yeah. One more thing, like even with Towers, I got there so late because of my late commitment to West Virginia. They put me on the honors floor, so I didn't get a chance to be on the floor with all the sports people. So I was on the honors floor, and I think they party more than the athletes did. And because sometimes you go in the bathrooms, it's crazy. And I met Jeff Hostetler maybe my senior year at West Virginia, and he knew who I was. I was like, wow, like he's playing for a Super Bowl. How do you know me? But that goes back to that West Virginia bond. So he
Yep.
was watching games like we were watching him. So that makes you feel good when guys that goes away still come back and watch.
Okay, excellent. Now, I'm not going to open up this all the time like this and be like a kumbaya, but because this is the beginning of Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends, I think it's really important that everybody understands that WVU athletics, it's a similar bond connection. And because this is basketball, we are going to get into it. And briefly, and I say tonight, the importance of tonight's game against UAB. They're 7-1. They're rolling. They're scoring 90 points a game. They're athletic. They're talented. They like to run, man. And how important is this game? Before we get to the Navy and the review, how important is this game tonight for the Mountaineers? And I'll say, Tim, go ahead and start.
Yeah, I really think that this team, the way Huggins and his staff has put this thing together as far as all the transfer portal and what's happened, I think he's got a good group of guys that play at any level and play at any tempo. I mean, I've seen it in past games. I don't know if Darryl, if you agree with that, but I think these guys, we've got a good group of guys, and they all get along, and that's what counts.
Yeah, that's key. You know, getting along, trusting each other. We talked about that last time we was on. I said I just think this game helps them for the Big 12. This team has some size. They have some athleticism. They have a guy that can really score points. So you got a different look than you have from the Navy game. So you know, each game prepares you for later on for a team that you might play against in the Big 12.
I agree with that, Darryl. I mean, we got some guys here, and I guess Dale, you and I talked last night, but this Joe Toussaint, he reminds me of a Greg Jones. I mean, he's quick, he's athletic, and him and also was it Kadrian Johnson as well. I think those guys can get it done in as far as in the backcourt.
Yeah, I think it's really nice to see. And then you add Stevenson into that group, who I actually love. That he's got 6'4". He plays like he's 6 foot, man. And I don't know, in the recent years, we've had some great 6 foot guards, 6'1", 6'2", but we haven't had that 6'4" guy in a long time. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I love watching it. So regardless, let's jump into the Navy and the review of it all. Okay, let's go with impressions. I got a few things I want to ask you about, especially what Bob Huggins said after the game. But DP, I'm going to go with you. What's your overall impression watching the Navy game?
I think they stayed focused for the whole game. It was easy to lose focus because they were up, 15 to 20 points. And I told you, that's one of those teams that even if they're down 20, 15 points, it doesn't matter because they'll shoot their way back in. They'll stay disciplined. They'll keep running their sets. You can't, you can't fall asleep on the shooters. And I think they locked in for most of the game. The team made them run, and after they made them run, they figured it out and kept it, and they stopped the run. So I think that was a growth for them.
Yeah. What about you, Tim?
Now they had some ups and downs, and it was just about getting momentum back. I think there was some times they lost some momentum. I don't know if you agree with that, Darryl, or not, but there was some it just talked. These guys are working together now, just trying to gel as a team, and you can see it on the court. But overall, I thought it was a good win for West Virginia.
I did too, and especially because this is what I saw, fellas. I saw a team like Navy, who was actually shooting outside pretty good, but really worked as a team a lot in their victories. And I thought the Mountaineers took a lot of their strengths away from them in that. But then again, Bob Huggins, went to that defense and he said it's not quite there. What did you see there, Darryl? What strengths did you see on their defense, and what do they need to work on?
Well, they still need to work on containing the guys in front of them. Navy didn't have a super athletic guy to get by people and stuff like that. And I think West Virginia still have to have better help defense, stop staying on the side of guys, getting back in front. Everybody's rotating. No matter if your guy's a shooter, if the big rotate, you got to slide down on a big. You got to do that, and somebody else got to rotate. That's that trust we talked about last week. They got to keep it together. They just got to keep it simple, and just keep trusting each other, keep trusting each other.
Yeah, I agree. But I'll tell you what, that little guard from Navy, 5'11",
ooh,
he was something else. He was. I'd love him to leave the Navy and come to West Virginia.
Didn't Huck say something to him on the line afterwards, or kidding? I think he said on the air afterwards.
No, I think so, but yeah.
Get him in a transfer portal.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, let's not even go there right now about the transfer portal. So much going on right now. We don't even need to hit that until we want to focus on it. Okay, so you saw that. You saw the strengths. You just talked about the strengths, what you saw, the weaknesses. But what chemistry are you seeing? And Tim, I want to start with you. What chemistry are you seeing in this team that you like? Is there anything sticking out? 2 guys, 3 guys, all 5, or any combinations?
There's multiple guys. I mean, as far as I think as far as Jimmy Bell Jr., we got a big man, and he's doing a great job. And we've got some backups on him as well. But I'm just thinking overall, I just love the chemistry of this team right now. I haven't seen this chemistry for the last couple of years.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, I agree with that. Bell's a load. Bell's very aggressive. Very, you could throw it to him. I like. I need Muhammad to show that energy he showed the first couple of games. He's kind of tailed off a little bit, and I know Coach Hugg said in his press conference maybe he's inside his own head. Sometimes these guys listen to outside people and get distracted. He just got to do what he was doing in the first few games to get himself back going, because you're going to need him. Bell can't play the whole 40 minutes, so they're going to need him. I need Wilson to step up more as a guard too. He can shoot it a little bit, but I think that would help the team, and especially help Toussaint and Johnson a lot more if he steps it up, because he can shoot it pretty well.
Yeah, and I truly believe. I mean, Emmett Matthews and Trey Mitchell, but those two are so smooth. I mean, I watched Emmett Matthews years ago when he was at a couple years ago, whatever, at West Virginia, but he's come back and he's proven that, he can explode at any time. And I know Trey Mitchell as well. I mean, just watching these two, they're about the same height, I think, like 6'7", 6'8", whatever. But I really think they're going to, when we come to the Big 12, when we start playing our games, I think they're going to explode.
Well, they're not afraid to score points, and it seems to me that they'll take it inside the paint, which God knows for 3-4 years I've been just begging the Mountaineers to be able to go in the paint, with a couple of guys and do that. But they can also hit, they're over 50% shooting from the field goals, and then they go back to the 3-point line and they're hitting it. And they got some guys that, I look at Stevenson and he's a shooter, man. If he goes 1 for 8, he might keep shooting, then hit 4 or 5 in a row because he's not afraid to shoot. What are you saying when you look at that? What is that chemistry saying to Mountaineer Nation? Because they're not there yet. We know they're not all there yet, but they're 5 different guys, Tim.
Dale, if you look at the stats, I mean, percentage-wise, we're shooting, I think we're shooting a heck of a lot better than we did last year. Not only from, the 2-point, but also 3-point range. And it just, like I said, overall, I just see a good synergy as far as what's happening with this team.
Okay, Dave, you got anything to say to that?
Yeah, I think with Toussaint coming off the bench, you get a spark. When things are not going with that first group, you can bring Toussaint in, and he gets in that lane. He can score. He can shoot. He creates havoc. Like he said about Greg Jones. I didn't see Greg Jones play in college, but he does a lot of different things. He's a dynamic guy. So, but it's
Greg Jones was
those guys.
Greg Jones was something else.
Yeah, I heard, but yeah. Yeah, so it's like, like he brings a different dynamic. I don't think they had that coming off the bench last year. One, they didn't have nobody playing as close to the basket like these guys are playing close to the basket. Like I said last week, they're getting in each other's way sometimes, but they're figuring it out. Sometimes I let them play small and play Mitchell and Matthews together and play the 3 guards and see how it looks. We can't do it against these big 7-footers, but I like to see it against these other teams, especially when they play the Texas of the world, because they got a lot of wing players, and they playing that 5 out, and they driving to try to get the disadvantage. But sometimes I think I would love to see that before the Big 12 starts.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm hearing you guys. You love the synergy of this team, and I really do too. As a guy that is just a fan looking at it, but it's sure to see they're entertaining to watch. That's anytime you can score points, and putting 84 against Navy, and obviously they've scored all season long. But what about the rebounding? What about the offensive rebounding? What about the second chance points? I think could be much better. Tim, what do you think? Do you agree or do you disagree with me?
Well, Dale, if you keep making shots, you don't have many offensive rebounds.
Boys, that's so true. I mean, it's a simplistic statement.
Like I said, I think the percentage of shots going in is greater than it was last year. So offensive rebounds, but I still think they're doing a good job. I mean, like I said, the bigs with Bell and some of the other guys, I think they're doing a better job than what we did last year.
Was it Hugs that said that KJ was the number 1 rebounder of all time because of Truck? Truck was shooting, and KJ was always on the opposite side of the rim with Truck. I'm gonna hear it from Truck now, but I don't know. He said that's why he was such a special player. You got anything to say about the rebounds, D, before we move on?
Yeah, I don't think them guys are natural rebounders either. So they're more wing players. Mitchell plays a little bit of both. But it depends on where where the shot's coming from. And like now with this motion, it's hard to tell when people want to shoot. So people, it's hard to like get into position and run in there. Then you got to run back on defense, because I know if you don't run back on defense, Hugs will definitely take you out. This team is different from what Hugs is used to having. I don't think he had a forward like Mitchell and Matthews since Deshaun Butler, because he can do a little bit of everything. So that was, that was him. But like last year, he had a forward that was really good, but he couldn't shoot. So what he did, he gave you all the offensive rebounds, the hustle plays, and that, he played more because of that. But on the offensive end, it hurt him. But now you got the offense. Now you don't have the defense this year. So it's, teams change every year, especially with the portal. Them guys still trying to get used to it. As long as you keep seeing growth from now until the first week of January, I think, good things will keep happening.
All right, let's watch Trey Mitchell right now, because I want to talk specifically. Tim, I want to hear from you as a big talking about his abilities. But watch here. You're going to see him. He puts the ball right in the ground. He dribbles it, goes right in for the big dunk. He's such an athlete at his height. It's really hard. I don't want to talk about it. You guys talk about it. Go ahead, Tim.
No, as far as Trey Mitchell and also Matthews as well, they're both kind of the same. I see as the same type of player, just so smooth and quick, and that's what impresses me. I mean, I think Mitchell's a little bit bigger guy, but I like to watch him play. It's just he's been a very special player. I'm glad he's on our team.
Yeah, what about you, D?
Yeah, I think he's very talented. I just worry about when it gets physical, like we got physical against Memphis, how he's going to react to it. Is he going to keep playing, or he's going to fade out the game? Is he going to stay with it? It's easy to, be much more physically dominant over a Navy, but then when these guys starting to play in the Big 12, them guys are super athletic. And, even today, I got some guys on that team that's tough, and they got size on them. So let's see how he does against those guys too.
Yeah, as we were watching there, as you can see him put the ball, a big man dribbling and driving into the basket, going around a defender. I still think, even though that was Navy and probably a smaller man, you still got to say that's pretty good skill. Hitting the 16-footers, the mid-range shots, and then you saw, straight into three, man. I mean, when's the last time you've seen someone at WVU that has that ability?
Well, back in the day,
Deshaun Butler.
Deshaun Butler, all right?
Yeah. Well, back in the day, I wasn't allowed to do it because I was 6'11". Coach Canada wouldn't have that.
Let me ask you a question. Kevin Pitznagle, I'm trying to remember, could he hit the 16-footer? I know he could hit the threes. Was he a mid-range guy?
I didn't play with Kevin.
I never seen him shoot one.
I think he always shot threes, right?
Yeah, well, so we at Georgetown, I was coaching at Georgetown, he was always pulling Roy Hibbert away from the basket, so he was always popping out shooting threes. So I don't remember him. He didn't do no dribble pull-ups.
So, that's what I was thinking, man.
Yeah. He
No
never did a
doubt
dribble pull-up.
All right, fellas, that is really awesome, man. And, we got to thank our sponsors real quick. And our sponsors are Parmar Stores and Dan Cabot Toyota and Country Roads Trust. And we really, really got to thank them. And let me just do the read. I had the read right here. No, I forgot. Hey, listen, Parmar Stores, there's over 200 stores, Parmar stores. They're in 5 different states, man. Pennsylvania, West Virginia, Maryland. Get down there towards your end there, Timmy, down there by D.C., and Ohio, and Kentucky. So there's 5 states. I don't even need to read the script for Parmar stores. If there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be one soon. And everybody will remember that read, because there was no read. So let's go ahead and get to the exciting part, where we're going to go ahead and we're going to break it down here against UAB tonight. But there's going to be a lot of what I call the term zone and zone definition. This is our technical part of the game where I want to put it in layman's terms of 101. So zone 101, for layman people like me, what is zone? And I have a couple other questions off of that. Go ahead, D.
Well, zone.
Okay, hey, stop that. I don't know, something just happened to your link there, man. Go ahead,
Yeah.
Tim. Go ahead.
Well, there's multiple. I mean, yeah, Darryl, you were breaking up when you were talking. But as far as there are multiple different zones. Some of them are matchup zones. Some of them, and I know that UAB does a lot of different type of zone matchups. And every time I think West Virginia's gone up against a zone, they haven't done well, which concerns me because there's so many different ways to attack a zone. But it's I guess it's the offense and the planning of what you have to do is attacking the gaps and splitting the zones. So, like I said, I mean I understand that UAB they mostly do zone. So we'll see how tonight works out, and hopefully it works out well.
Yeah. What about you, Dink? Are you back?
Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Yep.
you're good.
Yeah. Like when I coach, I like to use multiple zones just to throw teams off balance. When teams I remember coaching in college, a lot of teams have rhythm on offense, and you get in their rhythm on offense, it's hard to stop them. So I think, teams like to throw different defenses at you to throw you off balance in zones and different kind of zones. They have a 1-3-1 half court trap. They do a 2-3 zone. So they got a big 7-footer sitting back there too. So, not a lot of people are attacking the rim. So they do a lot of different things to try to speed you up and get you off balance. But it's zones I think are good. Like Syracuse, all they do is play zones. They got so good at it that, it can look like a man, but, sometimes kids are always used to playing against man-to-man, trying to beat the guys off dribble. So, when they see a zone, they kind of tense up and freeze up. So that's another mental thing that helps zone defense.
Darryl, as a coach, obviously you coach, but the biggest thing is just understanding a zone and how to penetrate the gaps to kind of offset everything. Is that correct?
Yes, and the problem is nobody's really teaching that no more. Everybody
they're not.
They shoot jump shots. You got to shoot them out the zone, shoot them out the zone, shoot them out the zone. What if you're not making shots? You know what I mean? So got to do something else.
Fundamentals is what it is that they're not teaching anymore about how to penetrate a zone defense.
Right.
Hitting the gaps.
That's so crazy because all I'm talking about nowadays in my world, in the football world, is the fundamentals are lacking so much. And not only in the individual, but the schematics of it all. They're proper, things that you want to attack. Let me ask you guys a question. Is there a type of zone, this is for the layman now, okay, like me, okay, you can't get too dumb with me. Okay, so is there a kind of zone where you could do a zone on one side or a zone with 4 men, one guy, because you got one guy, let's say for Jelly Walker tonight, there's a guy that you want to match up like Kedrian, which we'll get to, but is there a zone where you mix and match?
It's kind of like a box and one or whatever you want to call it. There's different things you can do. You can have different movements in different zones. But the problem is that, obviously this kid for UAB, he's averaging 25 points a game. He's probably going to have a trailer on him at all times. But there's different zones you can run.
Mm-hmm. What about you, D? What are you going to say?
Yeah, you just got to play him man to man. He's going to get his. He's averaging 25. He's taking all kind of shots. He's, so he gets off the ball. He does a good job of getting off the ball and getting it back. And I think he'll get off the ball, he'll jog around, and all of a sudden he change speeds and take off running. You just got to be aware. Zones, I don't think, the zones won't stop him or slow him down because he'll shoot the 3. If you close out on the 3 fast, he gets in the lane, shoots over top of the guys or go all the way in. He's a little guy, but he's strong. So he bump into those big guys. He's still getting his shot off. So he's going to be a handful.
Okay, let me change the subject real quick because we had Patsy Adkins out there watching, and Patsy wants to know, okay, would your playing style be different under Bob Huggins? And Tim, go ahead and start.
Yeah, I'd be able to shoot from 3-point range.
Boy, that sounds like it's been bothering you for a few years.
Well, no, like I said, I mean, Bob Huggins. I mean, I've talked to Bob. I've been with him several different times, met with him several different times, but he was the type of guy who says, okay, you got the talent, whatever, you can do whatever, within constraints. No, I just, like I said, it would have been a lot of fun to play for Bob Huggins.
What about you, D?
Yeah, I think it'd have been a lot of fun too. Back then we weren't allowed to do a lot of different things. I could dribble, I could do all the different, I could pass. Only thing I didn't do was shoot because, we didn't really work on it. So, I wasn't confident. As I got older, I told you I started shooting more and became a pretty decent shooter. With him, the way he plays defense was kind of up my alley. I think I'm still third in West Virginia history in steals. If I'd have had Hugs, I don't know if Carter would have broke my record.
What about fouls?
Hey, I led WVU in fouls and minutes at one time, and so Catley trusted me, so he kept me on the floor.
Well, Phil Collins was there for 2 years. I think you finally broke his record. You were there for 4 years.
Yeah. I fouled a lot. I was very aggressive. I reached a lot. I did all kind of. I grabbed. I had to do whatever I had to do when I needed to do it.
Is that a source of pride for you, D?
The fouls, no. The most minutes played, yes.
Okay, I got you. All right, what I want to tell you though, real quickly, is that I played for Bob Huggins, so I know what it's like. And I went to his camp every year, with the donors camp, and I would play, and they kicked me out for fouling too many. It was so bad that I even fouled my own teammate, Johnny Cahigas. Okay, so they took me out. I got banned from ever playing again in the Bob Huggins fantasy camp. So, so I got you all beat. All right. Okay.
Dale, I think I'm still on the top 10 list for block shots.
Well, I bet you are.
Yeah,
out there, those big arms.
I was up to 92. I was number one.
Up to 92?
And no one could believe it.
Excellent.
I had good timing.
Yep, I believe you did. And when we look at this, let's go ahead and look at this, what we got here tonight. And that's Jelly Walker, man. He's quite the athlete and quite the player, and he loves to run. You can see him here. He's just going to get up 3-pointers. He's going to hit it every single way. He's going to be dribbling it. I think that the matchup tonight, D, who do you think it's going to put up against him? Obviously, Keegan went up last year against him. What do you think?
You're going to have to do it again. I don't think you have to put multiple guys on him, so he doesn't get used to one guy. You got to put 4 or 5 guys on him, wear him down a little bit, play him a little more physical than people playing him. But he's going to get his points, and the key is stopping the other guys. There's 2 other guys that's averaging 10 points a game. Don't let them get their average, because they can get 15 and 20. So you got he's going to get his, but you can't let them other guys get going either.
I think
he's playing 33 minutes a game, Tim. He's playing 33 minutes. How do you put someone on him all that time? Can you go man the entire? You can't do that, can you?
No, I think Joe Toussaint would be a great matchup on him. I mean, you got 2 New York guys going head to head one another. They're both built the same. The speed and everything else. And like I said, Joe Toussaint reminds me of a Greg Jones. And Greg, he could shut down people like that. So I think that might be a key matchup right there.
What about you, D? Do you think they're going to go man on man with him the whole game?
Oh yeah. That's what Huggy's going to do. Huggy's going to do what he does. He's not going to change it up. I haven't seen the 1-3-1 from Huggy much this year. They might play some zone, but the key is just staying locked in with him. He changes speeds. He's good. He's very good. He'll get off. He'll bring the ball up court, give it to a guard, jog down to the free throw line, and come off 3 screens. So you got to be locked in. Sometimes you got to switch. Sometimes you got to run hard and chase him, but it can't be no lack of communication. It can't be no lapses in what we're doing or how you guard him, because if you lapse, he's going to make the shot.
No.
Okay.
I think you bring up a pretty good point. I think maybe Hug should throw some 1-3-1 at him just to throw him off, throw him off a little bit.
Yeah, just mix it up. I just think, teams get used to a certain way, especially if a team is not a good man-to-man team. Throw some junk the defense up. Just junk it up. I remember when I was with Georgetown, we went to the Final Four, and we were playing North Carolina up in the regionals in New Jersey, and they had Tyler Hansborough, Todd Lawson. They were kicking our butt. Man, we went to this matchup zone. We practiced it one day, no rules, just match up, and it threw them off. They didn't know what we were doing. We didn't know what we were doing, so it kind of worked in our favor because nobody knew what they were doing, and it kind of stalled them a little bit, and we ended up winning that game. Sometimes you got to do things you don't work on or you're not comfortable with, see how it works.
I agree. Yeah.
Well, so let's say, okay, so Jelly Walker, he's 26 points almost a game, and they're scoring 90. How easy or hard is it to focus more on him and then forget about the others?
You don't want them other guys to get going because they got two other guys that can play that averaging 10 points, and those are the other two, the wings and the guard. We're not even talking with the big guy who's going to get puckers too, going into the rim, getting offensive rebounds. If them other two guys are averaging 10, so they can get 20 and 20, then you don't want that. You don't want the other guys to get going. You want to shut everybody down. He's going to get his points. We at Georgetown, again, I hate keep reference Georgetown. We played J.J. Redick. He scored 40-something points on us, but we shut everybody else down, and we end up winning the game. You just couldn't stop them. You know what I mean? And sometimes these guys are good. You can't stop. This little guy, he's very dynamic. I know they slowed him down last year. Hopefully they can slow him down again this year on the road, but hopefully he just don't get going. And if he don't get going, then, the Mountaineers will be great. It should be fine.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right. So let's move on here to keys to victory with what the Mountaineers need to do. Briefly, offensively, defensively. What do they have to do tonight to win against UAB? Tim, go ahead.
Score more points.
Okay. I like that.
No,
I hear you.
I think it's about controlling the tempo and defensively, what they have to do, and just obviously, this Jordan Davis, whatever, and other folks that they've got to look out for as far as and like Darryl said, you've got one wing guy that is KJ Buffin. He could be. I mean, he's a big guy, 6'8", 230. Just keeping things under control and keeping tempo. I mean, but I think this team can run with UAB.
Mm-hmm. What about you, D?
I think the offensive keys is you got to prepare for that. They do multiple defenses. He's a clone of Coach Kennedy is a clone of Coach Huggs. You got to execute offensively. Like before, we got to get to the second and third options, offensive rebound, and finish in transition. In defense, you got to contain the dribble penetration, ball screen defense, box out and rebound, and transition defense. You got to find Jordan Walker in transition because he will find a way to get open. You just don't want him to get open and knocking down threes, easy shots.
All right. Tim, who's your key player to win the game tonight? MVP.
With the way he's been playing, I think Stevenson. I think he's due. Matthews and Trey Mitchell, I mean, I think they'll continue to do what they do, but I think if Stevenson steps up, we shouldn't have any issues. As long as Bell keeps rebounding and hitting the boards, I think we should be good.
Mm-hmm. What about you, D?
I need Matthews to explode, not just be cool and be out there. Not saying.
Where'd you go?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
Yeah, go ahead and repeat that.
I said Matthews needs to just take over the game. Be the guy. Don't be the second and third guy. Be the guy.
Yeah.
Wow, that's so funny because I'm going to tell you, who my guy is? Emmett Matthews. Because what I want to see sometimes, and I know we got the big guys in there, and sometimes when you talk about that spacing the last show, D, and that he's the third guy out because we got two biggins that are in there. But boy, if we go smaller, that smaller side, I would love to see him because when he gets in there and he gets physical, his whole game to me turns on. I don't know what you guys think about that, but that's what I see real quick when I watch Emmett Matthews.
Well, Emmett Matthews, he kind of reminds me a lot of Russell Todd. I don't know if you remember back in the day when I was playing, but Russell, he was smooth like that, and he was just, unassuming from anybody else, but would just explode at times. And I see that in Matthews as well. I see Matthews as he's more athletic and his jumping ability and his shooting ability. I look for him to explode here.
All right, excellent. What about you, Dean? Close it off.
Yeah, Matthew really good. I just think he can't sustain being physical for the whole game because his body is not built for that.
Well, I'll tell you, we're going to see who's right or wrong. So watch it tonight, and let's hope that UAB goes down in a loss tonight, because I am looking forward to watching Jelly Walker there. I'm seeing the Keidrian Johnson matchup, also Toussaint coming in there, because I think you got to get two guys at least. I like what you said, Tim, with that. I'm also waiting to see that 7-footer they got. I think with Bell. I'm going to see what Bell does, because Hugs in the post game called him out a little bit on ESPN national TV, saying that he didn't play well that night, which was Wednesday night. So let's see how he rebounds, he reacts. Let's see what this team can do, because I think this is an important game, because UAB can win if the Mountaineers don't play really, really efficient.
Yeah, well, I think Bell's going to be a key to this game.
Big key.
Yeah,
they need to throw the ball more. Let them get going a little bit.
All right. Okay, fellas. Well, thank you so much. We're in, we're out. We get it done. Hey, 2 hours before every game, okay? It's the Mountaineer Hardcourt Legends. What's up? You waving at me?
Oh, yeah. You asked for a story last week, Wednesday. I got a story.
Oh, all right. Give me a story.
All right. So we're down Towers. It's Chris Brooks' freshman year. So, Chris Brooks, God rest his soul, he was, major jumper. David Grant was out there playing basketball, and they had a bet that Chris wouldn't dunk on him. So they stood under the basket, and David probably tried to tackle him, and Chris just kept going up. Boom, got him. No, David wasn't no little guy.
Oh my goodness. Well, listen.
Hey, Dale, I'll add one more story to this.
Okay.
Back when I was playing, we were playing GW down here. I stole the ball, took the ball behind my back. Someone was going to steal it. I was dribbling. I took behind my back, dished it off to, I think, Russell Todd or whatever, went in for a layup. The next day, the film session with Coach Catlett, he kept on, had the clicker. Yeah, you know what, Dale. And he goes, click, 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 click with me dribbling the ball behind my back. He goes, you're 6'11". You're not allowed to dribble the ball behind your back.
Well, that's about as old school as it gets, I think, right there.
That
being said.
I knew where he was going when he said it in the film session. That clicker was something else.
Daryl, you know exactly what I'm talking about. Then he yells, lights on. And then he turns around and stares at you.
All right, folks. Thank you so much. I want more Coach Gail Catlett stories, and a lot more. And I want to remember this one story the next time, Dave, that you can think about it. The one the gun went off by the Mountaineer in the Coliseum. Hold on to that story. Don't tell it. And we'll see you next time.
Adventure. I was there at that game.
All right.
When he was shooting a free throw.
God bless you guys. Have a great night. Let's go Mountaineers.
Yes, sir.
No matter what it is you need, you'll find it at your local Parmar store. From gas to grocery, snacks, and everything else you always seem to run out of, Parmar Stores has it. Need more savings? Download the Parmar app and sign up for the Parmar Rewards Card. You won't only see our stores in your neighborhoods, you'll see us in your neighborhoods too. We are proud to be in your town and proud to be a part of the community. Come see us at Parmar Stores, and remember, if there's not a Parmar store near you now, there will be soon.